Hi, my name is Shane. I use she and her pronouns. This is the first of 4 sessions of a game of hashtag iHunt by Olivia Hill and Philomena Young. Sadly, or maybe not so sadly, as your preferences lie, there will be no actual hashtags in this game because we're going to be using the alternate 1980s setting and rules from the iHunt 80s zine. If you're not familiar, Machine Age Productions, which publishes iHunt, have a Patreon where they regularly, I think pretty much monthly, publish a zine of extra material for the game. Some really great stuff. If you like gaming Patreons, that's definitely one of my favorites to check out. This game was organized as part of the Gauntlet gaming calendar. The Gauntlet, if you're not familiar, is an online community that plays and discusses a wide range of role playing games, especially Indian story games. If you'd like to find out more or come play a game with us, check out gauntlet-rpg.com or at gauntletrpg on Twitter. I'm going to ask the players to introduce themselves now. If you could just tell us your names and pronouns, anything that you'd like to share about yourselves, and two things specifically that I'd like to know. One is whether you've played iHunt or other Fate games before, because it is a Fate-based game. And what are you excited about in this game specifically, or why did you sign up for this session? So we'll just go around the order that I can see you on my screen. So Dana, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Shane. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. I guess I am a little bit excited to play this game, although I have never played iHunt nor any Fate game before. So yeah, I'm on a quest to play as many new RPGs as I can, as usual this year. And I guess, terrible action movies from the 80s form a pivotal and formative part of my youth. So, so yeah, maybe in this version of the 80s, I get to be a little bit cool.
We can only hope. Thank you, Sabine.
Yeah, sorry. My name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I have played Fate before. I've not played iHunt, but I have played Fate extensively. I'm running a Dresden Files RPG thingy campaign for a few years now, so yay, I know Fate a little, at least, and I've translated a bit of it. And I'm excited to play this because dystopian 80s, that is my jam. I was a dystopian 80s teenager, so yeah, I feel I know this stuff somewhat.
Thanks. All right, Puckett.
Hey there, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. I am thrilled to be here tonight with this group. Donna, this may be the first time you and I have actually played a game together instead of one of us GMing it. Sabine, I have no doubt that you were in a dystopian teenage wasteland, considering, the circumstances of the 80s in Germany. What am I excited about? Besides the crew of players like Will, I'm excited about the crew of players. I'm excited that you're GMing it. I alternately, depending on how I look at it, loved or hated the 80s, depending on which part of it I'm looking at. And as far as Fate goes, I actually hacked together and ran a Warehouse 13 Fate game for my kid, but I have absolutely zero confidence that I did it correctly. And that was, God, like maybe a decade ago or something like that. So it's been quite a while since I've touched Fate. So let's just say I'm an absolute newbie, much like Donna, and I'm here to learn, but I'm really excited about it.
Cool. Thank you very much. And Will.
Hi, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him. I've played a roller coaster whistle stop tour of Fate of Cthulhu with Alan, like 5 sessions, or we just blew right through it. That was much easier to get my head around because I basically played a Delta Green agent, so I just had all my aspects as shoot them, kill the wizard. Yeah, I'm excited because I'd heard a lot about iHunt and like the gig economy and that kind of like economic horror sort of thing, and Red Markets is like one of my near and dear RPG heartbreakers, and that's the other economic horror game. And I may have been 3 during the 80s, but like, of course, I was raised on a diet of 80s movies, and still to this day. So, you know.
Excellent, thank you. So I guess I should answer my own question as well. I've played just like the tiniest little bit of Fate, and I haven't run it before. So I'm pretty sure that I have my head around it reasonably well, but there may well be some awkward pauses as I try and figure stuff out. And I trust you will bear with me as that happens. So I like to start a game by just going through a quick CATS process to talk about sort of expectations and things like that. So CATS standing for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. Feel free to like jump in if you've got any questions or if there's anything that you want to ask. So concept, hashtag iHunt is a satirical horror game about capitalism. The base sort of form of the game is about this Uber-style app for monster hunters. Obviously, in a game that's set in the 80s, we're not going to have a smartphone app to use, but we're going to sort of carry through that idea of sort of working class monster hunters who are desperately trying to make a living and constantly realizing that, yes, there are terrifying monsters that will eat you, but the real horror is capitalism, or, I mean, I guess depending where we decide to set this, Reaganomics or Thatcher or something like that. Um, I have a lot of nostalgia and love for 1980s horror franchises, and my plans for this game are to have a lot of references to those movies. I hope that will be fun in a kind of Easter eggy way if you like those movies, but it won't be necessary. Like I definitely don't want to make any of you run out and watch, Friday the 13th sequels or anything like that. I am not so sadistic as a game master. Uh, Aim wise, we're going to play 4 3-hour sessions. We'll take a break at the top of each hour. Today, finish up this intro and talk about safety tools, make our characters, and I expect that we'll get in at least like an hour or so of play, maybe a bit more. And before we finish, possibly the most important thing is that I'm going to get you to pick a job for next week's session so I know what I'm going to be prepping. That would be really helpful. Tone. So this is, like we said, both a comedy and a horror game. In keeping with the 80s horror franchise theme, the way I would describe the tone is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. So not as horrific as Nightmare on Elm Street, not as comedic as Nightmare on Elm Street Parts 4 or 5, just that sweet spot in the middle of Dream Warriors. If you are not as familiar with the Nightmare on Elm Street installments as I am, I guess the idea is that is the point where you're sort of balancing some horror and some comedy. There'll be funny moments and jokes, but broadly we're going to play it pretty straight. Subject matter. I mean, this is almost just repeating what I've already said, but it's a horror game, so it includes violence and gore and body horror and things like that. But there's also a focus on economic horror, so things like poverty and unemployment and homelessness. I don't really think there's anything else in particular that needs a subject matter warning. We are going to use a set of safety tools, and we'll start going through those now. So if you open up the Character Keeper, if you haven't already, you'll see there's a Safety and Resources tab, and that includes both a set of lines, veils, and ask first topics, and a romance matrix. So I'm sure you're all familiar with these, but just to go over it, lines are topics that just won't come up in the game at all. We're not going to include them. Veils, topics that might be mentioned in the game, but aren't going to be a focus. We're going to skip over them quickly or fade to black if they come up. And ask first is just something that we'll check in with the table before we introduce it into the game. The romance matrix just lets you express some preferences about whether you'll have romantic interactions with other characters in the game, be they PCs or NPCs. You'll see that there's a list of topics down there already that you can mark off. Of course, you're also welcome to add other topics if there are other things that you'd like to sort of regulate in the game. I think that's all I need to say, so I'm going to stop talking for a minute and let everyone fill out the safety tab. And maybe just put an okay or a done in the chat when you're ready to keep going.
Is everyone done with the romance bit? Because every time I type in my name, somebody else's name pops up over the top of it. Okay.
The
Yeah,
perils of
I
Google
think you
Sheets.
filled out mine, Will, but it's fine. I think they
Yeah,
were correct
You
ones.
checked, Will. You checked all my boxes. That's all I
yeah,
say.
yeah. I did exactly what with Sabine, and then I moved down to the next row, and then it happened with Dona again, and I was like, "Wow, okay." Luckily, we're
It's
all on the
okay.
same.
I'm gonna play that.
Okay.
Those are the boxes I would have checked. So, yeah. Sorry.
All good on lines and veils as well from me.
Cool.
Good on lines and veils as well.
I'm gonna stop typing. I'm good on lines and veils as well.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, cool. So the other safety tools that we're going to be using are the X card. So if anything does come up in the game that you're uncomfortable with or that just isn't fun for you for any reason, you're very welcome to just X card it by saying that you want to X card it, typing an X in the chat, however you want to signal that. We'll just take that content out and we'll make something else happen. It's not a problem. We're all happy to do that. We have the open door. If you need to leave, you're totally welcome to do that. Whether that's just to step away for a brief break or because you just need to leave and not come back. If you can let us know in the chat or verbally whether you'll be back, that's really helpful. But if you just need to go, that's okay. We're also playing under the Gauntlet Community Code of Conduct. I'm pretty sure that you're all familiar with that. If you need it, there's a link to it on that Safety and Resources tab in the Keeper. Something I like to emphasize about safety is that it's something that we all are responsible for during the game. So always welcome to check in about something if you're not sure, if you think a topic could be uncomfortable, if you notice that somebody looks like they're not having a good time, if you notice that we might be getting close to something that's a line or a veiler and ask first. I'd always rather stop and check that everyone's having a good time, and we'll always be grateful if you take time for that. That's everything that I want to say by way of introduction, I think. Is there any questions about any of that sort of admin or safety stuff before we start making characters? All right, cool. So we're going to make characters. I'll probably just edit this part out of the recording so nobody has to listen to the long silences of character creation. But just wanted to mention some sort of setting stuff that you might want to think about as you're making your characters. The game's going to be based around some sort of kind of medium-sized US city, I think. I don't have a particular city in mind. I'm happy just to keep it generic and undefined. If anyone wants to jump in with a suggestion as to what would be good, that's cool as well. Your characters are going to be people who already know each other and work together. So we're going to kind of skip over the getting the band together stuff. Maybe you're friends, maybe you're just co-workers who don't really like or trust each other. Like whatever the dynamic is, that's okay. But at least for sort of financial and safety reasons, you've decided to work together and you've done jobs together before. None of this is, really new to you. It's a fake game, so there are quite a lot of choices to make for your character in character creation. You'll see in the Drive folder there's a PDF called the Character Creation Summary that takes you through the things that you need to decide. Things like aspects and skills and stunts, it explains them briefly. You'll also see that for each part it tells you what a full character, finished character has, but it also suggests a bare minimum. Bare minimum has kind of a almost pejorative connotation, but the idea is that if you're ready to fill out your whole character, you can do that. But if you just fill out the bare minimum parts, we'll be ready to play, and you can fill out the rest of it during play if that's easier for you, if you don't want to do the whole thing up front. All right. So I would love to go around and get you to introduce your characters. I guess just in the order that we're on the Keeper. So Sabine, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Tell us a bit about Jaime.
Okay, so I am playing, where are you? Jaime Gutierrez. Jaime used to be a factory worker, lost his hand in a work accident, but of course he was blamed and nobody paid any kind of restitution or anything, so he was out. And while recuperating from this, he lived on disability a lot, spent a lot of time in libraries, and figured out about magic for various reasons. So yeah, he's a magic man now. He has learned a lot about monsters and how they work and why they work and defensive spells and amulets and stuff like that. And also he has gotten a job as a janitor at a university, which is semi-nice because he can get into the library there and check out all their ancient tomes about magic, of which there are surprisingly many. Who would have thought, right? But there are.
Nice.
So
how old's Jaime?
I think he's about late 30s, maybe.
Right. Does he have a family?
I'm not sure at this moment. I think no. I think he has. Obviously, he has a family, but not a wife and children. He has.
Okay.
He has parents and siblings. Obviously, not obviously. I mean, obviously he has parents, but he has also siblings and nephews and nieces and stuff like that. But that's not a huge part in his life. I think they live in another town or something.
Okay. So where does he live?
I think he does not live in his magical minivan, or does he? Oh, maybe he does. And showers at the university for now because, rent and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to kind of find a place. And you can shower at the university. He works there anyway. It's not a problem. And he mostly lives in his minivan.
All right. Is he finding it hard to maintain? Is it hard to keep to his janitorial hours when he has to go off and do, magical tasks and monster hunting?
Like anyone cares. He has a doctor's appointment if he needs to.
Cool. All right, that sounds good. Can you go through your aspects? Tell us what the.
Oh yeah, sure. My high concept is I'm a blue-collar magic man. Means that I know a lot of stuff about occultism and stuff like that, but I have no formal education, right? I'm just used to be a worker. Now I'm a magician, real one, not the kind who make stuffs appear or some shit. I have a fake. My dramas. I have a fake left hand. So yeah, that is. I have this is one of these plastic thingies that has the wrong skin color because who would make skin prosthetics for people who aren't tidy whitey, right? And anyway, it's not always easy having missing one hand. My vision board is, can I hear you say magic union? I am rather in love with the idea of unions. We used to have a union, and stuff like what had happened to me wouldn't have happened when we still had the union, but the union was busted, so But I think there might be more people like me out and about, and maybe we can form a union and then show everybody what's what. It's a very vague vision, but guys gotta have a dream. And my day job is janitor at a university, and also I have a magical minivan.
Lovely. I'm definitely picturing the Scooby-Doo minivan.
Yeah, but it's in the hippie colors, right? It's bright purple and stuff. It has crystals hanging everywhere and shit, mostly to get rid of the pigeons. But
Sure. And maybe tell us what stunts you've taken as well.
Oh, I've taken the stunt, the no stuff stunt, because I'm all about the knowledge. Yeah, I can hold on to a situational aspect related to my knowledge about monsters. And then I have library foo, because why wouldn't you take a stunt like library foo, huh? And it's not a martial arts form, though. It's just that I'm super good at research montages. So I just have the edge when I have a scene dedicated to research. Yeah, and if I have access to a situational aspect related to some of that research, I can use academic or occultist skill sets for defend actions, which is also nice. And I've also the defensive charms stunt, which means if I know what I'm up against and have at least 10 minutes to prepare before an encounter, I can defend against supernatural abilities with my occultist skill set. So, booyah. Try to hypnotize me.
Sounds great. Thank you. Will, do you want to tell us about John?
Yes. So John is a basically he wants to be the next big thing in fiction, in popular fiction. He wants to take horror mainstream, hit it, bring it into the real literary world using his direct experience of his primary research in the field. He is fueled by a bit more than creativity. That's one of his aspects. Reflecting that when his creative juices dry up, he finds a substance that helps stimulate it. It has its downsides, but hey, this is the 80s. There's a lot of that stuff going around if you know where to look. And if you don't, someone will point it out to you. He is his vision board is to be on the NYT bestseller list and get a movie deal. He's the one who's going to break this. He's never heard of Stephen King yet, of course. He's about to be very disappointed that he's not going to be the trailblazer that he hopes to be. His day job is writing as a trade and not a craft. And, once upon a time, perhaps, you might get a literary agent, you might get published, you might be in this whole kind of thing, right? But in the world of the 80s, what's better, what makes the money? It's ad copy, it's copywriting, it is a trade, not a craft. You are not supposed to, don't deal with any of that theory or any of that kind of thing. Get out there, make money, or what's it worth? And I did take a free aspect of weird zines and ancient tomes just to reflect that he's just all over like the weird fiction of yon past and present, some of which may have a element of truth to it, others may not. I took the stunts of trivia buff so far, knowing a little bit about a lot of things. So as long as I can justify with a really relevant factoid, I can spend a fate point to use academia in place of any skill set. And in terms of family, John, I think, is largely able to even subsist as a struggling writer purely because he inherited his aunt's property out here in California, which is what brought him out here after he failed to really penetrate the New York literary market. You don't do publishing on the West Coast unless you're forced to, I don't think. This is movie writer town, right? Not literary. And I think he's got an ex, that's here as well. May have been another factor. She's wildly successful, and her name is it's Carrie.
What is she wildly successful at?
She is wildly successful at screenwriting, I guess, maybe. Yeah. Oh, you know what? She's an age. She's a. What would it be like? She's not a screenwriter. I don't want her to be a writer. I want her to be like a producer. She's a producer.
That's awesome. Do they have any kids?
No. One of the reasons that they are no longer an item.
Sure.
Kids was supposed to come after the book deal.
Fair.
Because otherwise they'll never have time to write, right? Like you can't write with kids in the foot. God.
Makes sense. What were the other stunts?
My other stunts are the ones that come with the Outstander. Always on. I am adept in the way of TV, magazines, and the news. If it's possible to find relevant information about a topic, an Outstander can. I can create an advantage related to mass media and give it an additional free invoke. And when that aspect is compelled, accepting the compel gives 2 fate points instead of 1. And I also have Am I a Suspect as a Fletcher, which I can only assume is named after Jessica Fletcher, which I only really know of. I've never actually watched Murder, She Wrote that much, to be perfectly honest with you. But he has an uncanny ability to be where the crimes happen. Anytime a grisly crime happens, or I want a grisly crime to be happening, I can spend a fate point to create a scene element, as long as I stipulate that I'm relatively nearby. So I'm not going to witness the crime, but I might come round the corner and see the dead body afterwards, or come across the ticker tape or bump into the fleeing criminal or whatever, right? But like not actually witness the thing.
Amazing. That's awesome. Cool. I think that's everything. Is there anything else you want to tell us about John?
He chain smokes. He's in his mid-20s, I think. You know, he went through academia and university, college, and blah blah blah, and then
Yeah.
everything like that. And he always looks hungover.
I mean, you can really see why he's needing some substances if he's working both as an advertising copywriter, a horror writer, and a monster hunter. You can't be getting a whole lot of sleep.
No, but it does give you a lot of material to work with.
Sure. All right. Thank you. Parker, do you want to tell us about Christian?
I'd love to tell you about Christian, man. So here's what you need to know. I'm the baddest ass motherfucker who has ever picked up a six string in this city. Anybody who suggests differently, they're going to have to challenge me to a drinking contest to prove it. So I play in this band. It's really, I mean, we're like the hottest thing on the planet. I mean, you've heard of us, right? Lipsticks, capital LYP, capital STYXX. Lipsticks. You've seen the pink flyers around, right? No? Well, we're still pretty underground, so I mean that's totally understandable. You know, only the cool people, the really cool people know about us right now. But we're working on that. Yeah, that's what I do. I rock and roll all night and I copy every day at the copy store where I work, which is a totally lame job. My boss is a jackass, but at least because we've got this god awful stash of pink paper around that he hates, he doesn't notice me when I'm stealing flyers on the job. My other bandmates, man, they're just, I don't know. I feel like they're just kind of hanging off me right now, like hoping to catch some of my shine. Like when I make it, like maybe somebody will say, "Hey, they were in that band with Christian. Maybe we should give them a shot." So the lead singer is Blaze Thorne, and he's dating this chick. Her name's Casey Chamberlain. She's kind of like our manager, but I'm not real thrilled about it because it's like I always feel like she gives Blaze more money than the rest of us. Like seriously, we're playing a show for like 200 people and I get $20 out of it. That's bullshit, man. But yeah, then we've got Rip Chord on bass. He spells it chord, CHORD, like musical chords. He thinks it's cool. I don't know. And then we got Jason Blackheart on drums, and he's just like that guy who sits back there, and he's basically a metronome. Like, I kind of wonder if he actually exists because it's like he's just too perfect with keeping time. And man, he doesn't need to do anything. He just like kind of sits there and stares. He's kind of a spooky dude. He just like, you ask him how it's going, and he says, fine. It's like, well, what'd you do last night? Not much. Well, did you go out drinking or anything? No. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, at least lie about what you did to make it seem cool, So, yeah, anyway, so, I do this monster hunting thing on the side, and, it's kind of fun, I guess, because it's like my reputation precedes me, and like people know I am not someone to fuck with, right? I am unfuckwithable. Like if I don't punch you, I'll smack you with my guitar. Don't even mess with me. I'm pretty good at rallying people up, like rallying at a party, rallying at a show. Like, Blaze doesn't have a whole lot of charisma. So somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody's got to like tell hey, like tip your bartender. Hey, everybody, let's do a shot right now. Come on, bring me 4. I'll knock them back. And, the best defense is always a good offense, man. I mean, you don't sort of like wait for opportunity to come to you. You go to opportunity, right? So like that means you chase that club promoter. You sit outside his house all night and wait for him to get in his car. And before you can get there, you like run up to him with flyers saying, hey, I know you haven't heard of us yet, but we are the baddest ass motherfuckers you're ever going to book in your life. You're going to be riding our coattails to the moon. And, I always dress the part. I look the lifestyle no matter where I am, even at work. Even my boss tells me that I have to take off the bandana and the spikes and the studs and the bracelets and the fishnets and the neon. I've still got my lipsticks t-shirt on underneath all that. I am ride or die. Ride or fucking die. What else you want to know about me, huh?
That was amazing. Tell us about your stunts.
Those are my stunts. I got a bad reputation. I can make impressive speeches. I've got the best defense, and I dress for success.
Right. Ah, I see. Okay, cool. Well, I'm curious about where you live as well. I don't want to make any assumptions, but maybe with your parents.
Like, no. I live in their garage, which is detached, thank you. And it's only my mom's garage. My dad's split. Fuck that guy. I do the best I can to help her out, but that's why this band thing's got to take off. If it doesn't, I can't buy her a badass house. I can't buy her a sweet ride. And I can't get those things for myself either, So this band has to succeed. But, it's kind of more important that, like, I pay off the mom's house and, like, buy her a better house someplace else. This thing's falling apart. There's foundation problems, But, everything else is awesome. It's totally sweet. But, and the garage, I've got it, like, it's soundproofed so I can shred out there all night. Nobody complains. I mean, it's a pretty sweet setup. You should come see it one of these days. I even got a mattress out there, just in case.
Nice. Do you have any siblings at home?
Nah, they all took off. They got their job. They went to college. They got a job. They moved someplace else. One of them's like writing for a newspaper up in Spokane. I mean, my sister actually, that was my brother. My sister actually calls. She moved out to New Mexico, and she's working for like a mayoral candidate out there or something like that. She got a degree in poli-sci, and she thinks he's going to be like the next Reagan, which, to me means fuck that dude. But, at least she calls my mom. And, like, she'll come home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and she doesn't look at me like I'm wasting my life.
That's awesome. I think that's everything that I wanted to ask you about. Thank you so much. Donna, do you want to tell us about Becca?
I mean, I can't follow that character introduction. So yeah, Becca Winters, she, her, is the last Slayer. The Watchers Council have been, busted by Reagan, and all of the survivors, ground down by vengeful monsters. So I guess the high concept is the last Slayer, which brings with it a lot of baggage. You're someone who had this kind of almost wholly innate cause, and now it's just being shopped out to this gig economy. The drama I put down is everyone she's ever trusted is dead or wishes they were. I mean, I don't want to say like she is a begrudging loner, but she finds it difficult to work with people. And maybe the second part of that, wishes they were, means that some of her old friends have been like turned into monsters. So we'll see where that goes. Her vision board is to find a place where she's safe and feels safe. I put in DEFCON 5, which is a very kind of 80s reference, I guess. The safest of the DEFCONs, which never happened. And her day job is everyone's least favorite barista in everyone's least favorite cafe.
Nice.
I'm not sure if she like has regular shifts or keeps getting like the worst shifts, which probably corresponds to her unsocial hours as a monster hunter. But there you have it. Okay, and stunts, I guess. I guess I've got the best defense for the Knight's Kink. And then I took Pain Don't Hurt, which allows me to push past beyond what any reasonable should. Comeback punching. when I'm hit by a physical source of harm, I can spend a fate point to ignore some of that harm and turn it back around on my attacker. Okay. And then I also took Feint. Fake out your opponents before delivering the Haymaker when I create an advantage by delivering fake attack to put your opponent off guard. Take an additional free invoke on the aspect you create. And then Dodgy Motherfucker. You can't be touched unless you want to. Anytime you use Athlete to dodge an attack, take +2. So I guess there's a reason she survived the whole debacle of her being the last Slayer.
Cool. And I mean, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked everyone. What's your kind of living situation?
I think I'd couch surf. I don't think I'm in a kind of financial position to keep paying rent. So while I probably help people out when I have the funds, I am moving from one friend or colleague's couch to another pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do you have family in town, or are they part of that drama?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's part of that drama, but maybe I've moved, so maybe I used to be a Slayer in a different part of the country, and so I've moved away from them. So they are kind of maybe safe-ish, but maybe in a kind of delinquent fashion that comes with being a Slayer. They've had enough of my bullshit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That sounds great. So we'll get to playing in just a sec. I just want to sort of briefly go over the basic Fate rules, the way the game's going to work for people who haven't played before. So you'll see there's a tab in the Keeper for basic actions. There are 4 basic actions listed there: to overcome an obstacle, to create an advantage, to attack, or to defend. And then, that's a little dark for me to even read. I'm just going to change the color that I chose for that. Sorry. Let's make it that blue. And different results for each of those depending on whether you roll under a target, tie with the target, exceed the target, or exceed the target by 3 or more. And then the things that you can do with your aspects listed down there on the side. Generally invoking an aspect to either re-roll your fate dice or add 2 to your or someone else's roll. Those are probably the main things. I think those are the main things that you need to know. We'll sort of talk more about how those things work as we get into play. Does anyone have a question about the rules or how they work? Or are you happy just to sort of roll into the game and ask things as they come up? Cool. All right. So, as we open, the 4 of you are standing in a cabin in the woods. It is late afternoon. The sun is getting a little low in the sky. You'd really like to get out of here before dark if you can. The reason that you're here is, of course, a job. You've actually done a few jobs for Professor DePaver. He's sort of unusually reliable for someone who regularly hires monster hunters, so you'd like to maintain, a good relationship with him. He pays pretty well. He's an archaeologist based at the university, probably the same one that Jaime works at. He's asked you to come out here to the cabin, which he owns, and retrieve a book for him. It's a grimoire of some kind. He has described it to you as bound in human skin. He needs it quite urgently because he is involved in some sort of academic power struggle with a rival in his department, and the book is the trump card that he must play. He's got to get this soon, or it's not going to be worth really anything to him. He's also concerned because the first person he sent to get the book was his daughter Cassie a few days ago. She has not come back. She has not made contact, and he is increasingly worried that something bad might have happened to her. He really hopes that's not the case. He really hopes in particular that nobody has used the grimoire to, summon something terrible or open some kind of portal or anything like that. But if if that has happened, if anything such as that has happened, he trusts that you will deal with it. So you've driven out, I assume, in the magical mystery van, the magical minivan. You found the cabin in some disarray. No sign of the daughter that you can tell. You've already had the chance to search the cabin reasonably thoroughly, and there's also no sign of the book so far. So now the four of you are looking down at the last place that you haven't looked, and that is a trap door in the floor of the living room of the cabin, leading down into some sort of basement. You see that it has been chained and padlocked shut. It's no problem for you to open. You can just pop it right open. But you can't help wondering if the chain is supposed to keep intruders out of the basement, which it seems poorly designed to do, or if it is designed to keep something in the basement, which it would appear to do pretty effectively. So that is where we're starting from.
Well, at least we know Cassie isn't down there.
Do we though?
Well, yeah, she couldn't chain herself in, could she?
Yeah, but somebody could have chained her in.
Yeah.
Shit.
Let me check the logs real quick for some kind of symbology or something. I mean, is there a kind of a sigil binding something down there? Might give us a hint what we're dealing with.
No, nothing like that. It just looks like a regular padlock.
I mean, you would think that if something bad was being restrained down there, they would put up a warning sign, right?
I know they wouldn't just use like a regular master lock. I mean, you can buy the thing for like $2 at any hardware store.
Yeah, you can pry it open real quick.
The thing in the basement can't get to the hardware store, right?
Still, I'd expect some. If it's mystical, I'd expect some kind of ward or something. But maybe it's down there. I don't know. Well, we need to check it out, I guess. I can open the lock.
Though? I mean, I've got a show to get to tonight.
Yeah, well then go.
I'm not gonna like bail on you.
Then don't. I'm opening this thing now.
So as you sort of jiggle the lock, you hear movement down below from the basement, and a woman's voice calls out as if she's sort of waking up. She has that kind of quality to her voice. She says, "Is someone up there? Hello, please help me."
Shit. I mean, given that this is obviously a trap, I have my axe.
I'm already hitting the lock with my guitar.
I've just let me open that lock with a bit more intelligence than hitting it with a guitar. Okay.
And just for clarity, Christian, next time I say to bring an axe, I mean a fire axe or a medieval axe, not a 6-string whatever the hell.
To be fair, this looks pretty medieval.
This is a double neck guitar. There are 12 strings on it. And also, I just start pointing to like the blades that are embedded in. It's like, look, this thing's fully customized. Fully customized. I got to be careful not to cut myself when I'm playing it.
John has written down the line about bringing the right kind of axe down. He's like, that's gold. That's gold.
Can I open this lock?
Yeah, you just pop it right open.
Okay, I pop it open, and then I'll open the door and let the professional fighty guys do their thing.
So it's very dark down there. You can hear again this woman moaning in the darkness down there somewhere.
I imagine we have a flashlight.
I think I'm hurt. I'm sure you've got torches.
Click. And I point the light down there to see what's what. Maybe there are symbols that I can look at and study, but probably not.
Probably not from up here. I mean, the torch will illuminate, there's a kind of rickety, narrow staircase leading down. You probably can't see too much from up here beyond that.
I will jump down and fire off the pyro on my guitar, which shoots sparks out of the neck.
All right.
Should be a sufficient source of light.
So you are welcome to just do that, like as something that will light up the room, or if you
Yes.
want, that could be a create an advantage action if you're trying to create an aspect that you might be able to use later.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go ahead and start rolling. So this is what, 4DF?
Yeah, so you're going to roll 4DF. What skill are you using for this?
Let's see what I have on my. I feel like this is probably closer to Survivor.
Yeah, I think that works. So yeah, go ahead, roll 4DF plus 2.
Okay, let me add +2 to that.
The difficulty is just going to be 2, so it's a fair difficulty.
Okay, so I got minus minus blank blank, and then +2 leaves me flat.
Okay, so if you want, so you have rolled a failure. So a failure to create an advantage means either you fail to create an aspect, or you create an aspect, but the opponent gains the free invoke on it. If you want, you can spend a fate point to invoke an aspect. That will bring you up to a tie. So you still wouldn't create an aspect, but you get a boost, which is a sort of one-time use bonus. Or if you want to invoke 2 aspects, then you could bring it up to a success. You can also use a fate point to re-roll the dice if you want to try and do it that way.
You know, would I have to spend 2 fate points to bring it up to a full success?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I'll just go ahead and we started out. How many fate points do we start with?
So you start with your refresh value. That's how many points you'll start each session with.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and spend a fate point to re-roll.
Cool. What aspect are you invoking though? Because you spend the fate point to invoke the aspect. It seems like knuckle-headed glam metal guitarist is the natural one here.
I mean, come on, I'm using the pyro on my guitar, dude.
Absolutely. Go ahead and re-roll. All right. So that will make this a tie.
Wait, I get +2.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Yeah, so
blank
the difficulty
plus
for
blank
this
minus 2.
Yeah, so the difficulty on this is 2.
Okay.
So that's a tie.
Okay. Fair enough.
So on a tie, you don't manage to create an aspect, but you do get a boost.
Okay.
So a boost meaning, I believe a boost is a +1 bonus that you can only use once.
I think it's +2, but
+2. Okay, let's say that. So it's not an aspect. It doesn't get a name. Other people won't be able to use it. But you light things up brightly enough that you have a +2 bonus on your next roll or on a roll where you want to make that relevant.
And more importantly, it looks awesome.
It does look awesome. Like, what sort of colors or what sort of like effects are we getting here?
Oh, it's just like it's sparks. Like literally shooting off sparks, you know, like those fireworks that just shoot sparks and you like watch them. I've got some of those taped to the necks of the guitar and I'm just like pop them off. And so now, you know, there's sparks shooting everywhere. It's okay though. It's not really a fire hazard because they go out pretty quick. And I'm sure there's nothing wood down here that could burn us.
I'm sure you're right.
In the woods, right? I mean, what here could be flammable?
Wow. Who could say? So you light everything up. You see a young woman sort of lying on the ground. She is a little bit bloodied. She, from the description, it does look like the professor's daughter, Cassie. Is anyone else coming down into the basement, or are the rest of you just hanging around upstairs?
I'm avoiding the sparks, and then I will move down if nobody else wants to go before me.
I think I might be backing up Starr, so a real axe is coming down into the basement.
All right. And what about John?
John, peering, fumbles with a Polaroid camera thing, takes a picture of the trapdoor as we're going in, and then tucks it away into his coat pocket and goes down after Yeah, I'm kind of imagining that, Star leaps down and then Becca comes down like a, trained warrior kind of thing. And Jaime comes down like they're much more dubious about climbing into a dark place with one hand.
Oh no, he's not that dubious. He's
Hmm.
curious. He's looking for symbols and signs and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
then I think
I'm not
following
dubious.
Jamie in
I
there.
am. Sorry.
Yeah.
The fact about saying we're dubious is like, no, I'm sure this is a bad idea.
So the woman sort of pulls herself like half upright as you all come in. She says, "Are they still up there?"
Ain't nobody up there.
I kneel down and say, "Are you Miss Cassie?"
Did my father send you?
Yeah. Do you want us to fetch some kind of book and check in to make sure you're okay? You've been gone a couple days.
Has it been that long? Oh, she kind of touches her head where there's some blood. The trap door slams shut behind you all, dimming the light a little bit more.
I will take off one of my bandanas and use it to gently kind of dress the wound on Cassie's head.
Maybe let somebody with medical experience have a look at that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Here.
Just.
And I hand you the bandana.
Oh, thank you. Somebody might want to push
as-
that door so we don't get trapped down here.
I think John wasn't like all the way, he was kind of like still on the last step of the stairs or whatever, right? And it's like, while you dress, I will try and open the trapdoor.
It does just push open. And I think that as you swing it open again, Cassie calls out and says, John, you shouldn't have done that. And her face is horribly transformed. Her teeth long and sharp, her flesh ragged and clearly dead. And she will lunge at... so I think that Christian Starr is still the closest to her.
I was moving up to treat her injury. So
that's why
probably
I handed
me.
Jaime the bandana.
All right. So Jaime, she's gonna attack. So just to let you know the way the turn order works in this game, whoever acts first to like prompt the conflict gets to go first. Then they hand off the initiative to another character of their choice. That can be a PC or an NPC. You keep passing the initiative to whoever you want, and then once everyone's had a turn, you have to pass it. You sort of pass it again. So you can't have two turns until everyone else has had their second turn. Obviously, there's like advantages to passing it to a member of your own team, but you also want to avoid a situation where you let the enemy go last, because then they're going to hand the initiative back to themselves at the start of the next round, and they're going to get two turns in a row. So something to think about. So if you go to the very last tab in the Keeper, you'll see the cabin in the woods laid out there. The aspects of the cabin in the basement so far, the aspects of Cassie de Pava, and an initiative order. I'll just quickly put all of you into the initiative order. Right, so Cassie is going to go first. She is going to try and bite down on the one. Well, she's going to try and bite Jaime. So she's going to make a roll to attack. You're going to make a roll to defend. I just need to check. All right. So I guess she'll make her attack roll first. She is going to use Fighter to attack. She has a stunt called I'll Swallow Your Soul, which gives her +2 to create an advantage by biting. So it's going to be rolling that at +6. She also has the Edge. So this is something where iHunt differs from standard Fate. One side at a time has something called the Edge, When you roll with the edge, you roll, instead of 4 fate dice, 3 fate dice and 1d6. So your average goes up and your sort of ceiling on your roll goes up by quite a bit. You can seize the edge from her, either by a successful overcome action, or if you roll to defend and succeed with style, so succeed by 3 or more. So she's going to roll with the edge.
Seems rather unlikely, right? Because all I have, can I use Survivor to defend, but by just powering through this whole thing, this attack?
So you can't use unless you have a stunt that would let you do that. No, I don't think that you can.
Okay, then I have to use Athlete, right?
I guess that's true.
Yeah, that's not something I'm very good with.
All right, so let me just build the roll for
Could
Cassie.
Jaime use the boost from
Yeah,
Sparklers?
I can. Usually you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
That would be really nice if I could.
All right, so she's rolling at +6 with the edge.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, that's a lot.
All right, so that's an 8. I'm just thinking about whether she wants to use any of her aspects, but I guess she'll just let that sit.
I'll just roll, and then I let in my fate points and aspects and stuff like that.
Sure.
And see how much. Oh wow, that was the most terrible roll I could make. Okay, I will now spend my you know what? I'll spend the fake left hand because that's what I put up first. That's what she's going, and I'll just re-roll this thing, this mess. That is not. No. We're not. That can hardly get worse. Yeah, it's a 3. So okay, that means I would take 5 points of stress.
So she's trying to create an advantage. She's not trying to.
She's trying to create an advantage. Okay, yes. That would give her 2 free invokes, right? If she's 5 points over me, I can only deny her the 1. No, I'm good then. I'm good with the reroll. That's fine. That's she's surprised me a lot. But still, it could have been worse. She didn't bite me.
It's true. It could have been worse. Okay, so she's going to create the advantage. And this is very unfortunate that it was you that this happened to, but she's going to create the advantage possessed hand.
Oh, nice. It's the plastic one or the other one?
I assume that it's your good hand.
Oh, shit.
She has 2 free invokes on it.
Mm-hmm.
But she also has to pass the action to the next character. I think it makes sense that Jaime can go next.
Okay, so she is possessed, and I need to create an aspect myself because I can't have a defensive charm, but lets you hold on to a situational aspect related. I need to know what that is. I need to create a situational aspect related to my knowledge because, I really want to know what that is before I can start fighting it, before the others can start fighting it. I will yell out if I figure it out, right? So I would roll with Occultist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I think a difficulty of 2.
Okay, that seems doable. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
So what's the advantage that what's the aspect that you're creating?
I think the aspect that I'm creating is, let me check what there is something in this thing, right? I think the aspect I'm creating is fine line between zombie and demon. I like it. So I will create the aspect that she's part demon, and if she's part demon, she can be injured by holy stuff.
Like, yeah, so weakness to holy symbols.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and that gets 2 free in books.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then do you want to pass the initiative to someone else?
Do I only have the other PCs, or is there somebody else? There must be somebody out there, right? Because somebody closed the door. I'll pass the initiative to John. I want to figure out what's going on up there.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, at the moment, it's only Cassie that you're dealing with. Not to say there won't be other parties at some point.
I think when John has paused at the top of the rickety narrow staircase, and as Cassie lunges for Jaime and the sparks go off, he stumbles backwards upstairs and lands on the floor and looks around the dark corners of the cabin. And I'm guessing that we haven't really searched the dark corners of this cabin or tried to piece together exactly what's happened here. There was a thing, and then we heard a voice downstairs, and we went through, right? So I'd like to try and look around and investigate this place for the book or whatever might have happened here. We were sent to find this girl, and now she's a demon zombie thing. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, okay. So I guess, I mean, it could be either an overcome an obstacle or create an advantage action. Do you have a feeling about which of those you're trying to do?
I think more of a overcoming the obstacle of ignorance, like not knowing what's happened here.
Yeah, okay. So, and I mean, looking around and things like that seems like the spy skill, or is there something else that you had in mind?
The spy
Investigate?
No, there's investigate.
Oh, there is investigate. Okay, that
Yes,
seems much more relevant. Thanks.
It's also my best skill is the investigator skills.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I go ahead and roll to investigate. I think again a difficulty of 2.
So I roll 4 fudge dice, and then I had a modifier of 4. Is that right for the skill?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a 7.
All right, so that is going to be a success with style. So let's see. On a success with style, you not only succeed, but you get a boost. So you have a +2 bonus that you can roll over onto another action for free.
Okay.
So you're looking to find out what's happened here. You're sort of, yeah. So I mean, you succeed at what you're doing. So what was it specifically that you were trying to achieve?
I think specifically, I was looking to find out how did Cassie get locked up down there.
Okay.
Because she was locked in, like we worked out originally, right? So, and I'm thinking someone closed that door, so like there must be someone else here, like something.
All right. So what you realize is that the cabin itself is alive. I've added the haunted cabin as an enemy for the scene. And I think that you realize that as, bits of furniture start to fly around, things are flying at you.
Can it be the chest of drawers, right? Like against the wall, like suddenly like opens up like a pair of eyes to the drawers, and then like the bigger one lower down, and it just starts like cackling away, like, and then the rest of the house begins to move.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, like the trap door, not so much slamming shut as like swinging open and closed like a mouth, almost like the house is laughing at you. Do you feel like you got the benefit from your move there? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, it explained a mystery, a danger that could have been worse, right? Could have caught us mid doing something, right?
Yes.
Like we try and go through the trap door again or whatever. And
yes, it really could have.
Yeah.
All right, and then who do you want to hand the initiative to?
I will hand the initiative to I think it's our Slayer, actually.
Nice. So Becca.
So here's a question. Given that Cassie is part demon and not just, a zombie, does that mean that she could be like saved, or the demon could be cast out, or something like that?
I mean, I think that your experience as like monster hunters is that once something like this has happened, it's pretty well happened.
Okay.
Maybe there's a way to bring her back, but
Okay.
it's probably
Good old trusty axe it is, so.
All right, so sounds like an attack action.
Yeah, I think attack. I mean, that's why you tag your Slayer in, right? Right, John?
Yeah.
So
go ahead and make an attack action with fighter.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if... let me know how this is, because I don't know how it'll work in Fate. If I say I wanted to invoke the aspect that that Jaime created for Cassie's part demon and vulnerable to holy things, do I say...
So the way it works is you make your dice roll first, and then you decide if you want to invoke aspects. So you'll know how many, how much extra you might need, whether it's worth invoking them or not. You're never going to waste the invocation like that.
Cool.
All right, so that's a 3. So I'm going to roll her defend roll now. Just bear with me for a sec. And then you can decide what aspects you want to use. All right, so she's going to roll to defend using athlete to try and dodge out of the way. So she rolls that at +3. She will use the edge again for this. So when you get the edge, you get 1 free invoke on it, and then after that, you have to spend a fate point to use it again. So she's going to burn a fate point. Right, here we go. Okay, so that's a 6. So you're going to need to get up to a 6 if you want to tie that, or get up to a 7 if you want a success. So do you want to start thinking about aspects?
Yeah, so I mean, I wonder if I kind of invoke, so I can spend a fate point to invoke an aspect, either in the scene or in myself, right?
Yeah, so there's also 2 free invokes available on the aspect that Jaime created, if you can work that in somehow.
Yeah, I think maybe the axe that I am so proud of, there's a reason for that. Maybe it's a holy axe.
Sure. So just untick one of those free invokes.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. You had rolled a 3. That brings you up to 5. One more aspect.
One more will get me to 7, right?
Yeah. So that'll be a success.
Yeah.
But the way that just to let you know, the way that attack and defend rolls work is that every point you exceed her defend roll by, she'll take 1 harm, 1 physical stress. So there's an incentive to go for a higher result if you want. So what aspect are you thinking of invoking?
I mean, I was thinking of invoking Slayer on me, given that it's there and it's kind of already worked into my previous invoke.
That makes
so you're
sense.
saying like that would get me what, +2 or a reroll?
Well, so you can add 2 to your roll, so that would bring you up to 7. So exceeding her defend by 1, so you're going to do 1 physical stress to her. Or you can keep stacking aspects and add more points of physical stress.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just not... I mean, it seems like maybe a reroll might have better chances of giving me kind of like a decent success in terms of just spending stuff to get 1 damage. Mightn't seem like a great idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you run the risk that you're going to roll even worse this time.
That's true. But then maybe like if I'm rolling to attack and she's rolling to defend, right? So what's the penalty if her defense roll just beats my attack roll?
So just you can look at the basic actions tab.
Okay.
The attack, if you don't meet her defense, the attack fails. The opponent shrugs it off, blocks it, or anything else that prevents you from harming them. So you just don't do damage, but there's not any sort of direct negative effect.
Yeah. Okay. So it seems like there's not a huge penalty to me just missing.
It's true.
So maybe I will go with a reroll.
I mean,
are you sure that you are going to roll more than +1? Because that's what you're betting on right now. You have a -1, and if you take the +2, that would get you to +1. So you're betting that you're rolling higher than +1. I don't know. It's not a really good bet.
I mean, I guess I rolled. I was just looking at my die roll and saying like I rolled a -1, so a reroll would get me better than that. But yeah, maybe you're right. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe I just quit while I'm ahead or not so far behind. I don't know. In which case, my first invoke is kind of pointless. So yeah, let me spend that Slayer, and I'll bring myself up to a +2, and I'll just do 1 damage. Right? We'll let her know we're serious. Right?
All right, cool. So do you want to like describe the blow? So it probably doesn't like catch her too intensely, but what does it look like?
Yeah, I think I'm not like right in front of her. Jaime and Christian are kind of in her midst, so I think this is like a get away from my friends kind of poke. I think I don't use the blade of the axe. I'm just like one-handed, like jamming it forward in between the gap between Jaime and Christian, and it's like hitting her forehead or something like that. So it's really just like a smack. I mean, a serious smack, unless you're an undead demon. But
sure. All right. So, do you want to hand the initiative either to Christian or to the haunted cabin? Bearing in mind, if you give it to Christian, then Christian will have no choice but to let the haunted cabin have 2 turns in a row after that.
Yeah. So I think let's take our licks from the haunted cabin first, and then maybe get back in the game.
So look, we're a little bit past the top of the hour, so let's take a 5-minute break here, and then we'll come back and see what the haunted cabin does exactly.
I'm back, Shane.
Cool, thanks. I feel terrible for Christian, who was so keen to get down into the basement and still hasn't had a chance to get any licks in.
Don't sweat it, man. We all got to go down to the basement sometime, right? It's like Thermone said, hey, Daddy-O, I don't want to go down to the basement. Go down there. Sage words from a prophet who I really should have listened to this day.
Yeah, but somebody has to go down there and fight the evil monster. And who better than you?
Lots of people.
Yeah?
Like literally anybody. You.
Yeah, that worked really well. I'm not good at fighting. I'm more of a brains guy.
Maybe you should have called her Miss Cassie like I did. Maybe she liked the politeness.
She's an undead demon from hell. She doesn't like
show a little
polite.
respect. You know, I mean, undead demons from hell. I mean, listen, there are a lot of metal songs about maybe not undead, but demons from hell. And like, they always sound like they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think she's pretty cool, man. I don't think she's pretty
Look,
cool.
all I'm saying is maybe we should invite her to like the show tonight, or like to go to a party or something. Maybe that'll. You think that'll?
Okay. Yeah, you try that. Yeah, you try that, Christian. I'm sure this will work fabulously. We'll try to banish her back to hell, but you invite her to your show.
I mean, who doesn't like metal? Like only lamers and geeks and.
If I could lift my hand now, I would lift it, but right now it's trying to choke me.
Yeah, about that. Hold your hand right there. Put your foot on it, and I'll like bring my guitar back with the blade out and shining in the light, like that little ting sparkle.
You're not cutting off my hand, friend.
It's an artificial hand.
That's not the one that's trying to choke me.
Oh. Yeah, that's not good.
Right? So maybe postpone your whole love affair with this demon until we've banished it to hell, and then you can figure out how to open the gate to that and find her again or something.
This would make a pretty sweet album cover, though. Like we'd get the PRMC on us and nothing flat.
You will not put me on one of your album covers, Christian Starr.
But what if it was like an illustrated version of you? Like we could do an entire concept record about this, It'd be like, you standing there with like a book in one hand and like your other hand raised as you like fight the forces of darkness and hell and everything like that. Or maybe it's like you're invoking them.
Maybe I need to figure out how to change your memory about this event.
All right. Everyone ready to continue? Okay, so the cabin is going to begin flinging objects wildly at John upstairs. There's some framed pictures, there's some debris that used to be a chair, there's a large reel-to-reel tape recorder. All these things are flying directly at your head. So that's going to be an attack action from the cabin, and then I'll get you. So I'll make the attack roll first, and then I'll get you to make your defend roll.
Okay.
So the monsters have the edge. The cabin is going to spend a fate point to get to roll with the edge, and it rolls with +2 to attack using architecture. So let's see what we get here. Ooh. I still called it dodge instead of changing the name, but that is a 9 to beat.
Okay.
Go ahead and make a defend roll.
So that'd be 4 fate dice plus my modifier in athletics, which is a 1, and I'm going to use that boost from my investigation to realize that all of these objects are in the house. The house itself and everything around us is a thingy.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm not going to beat a 9 though, am I? That's a 4.
So I mean, you can add some aspects to try and bring that up to a 9, which will mean you don't take harm. Otherwise, at the moment, you're going to take 5 stress.
5 stress. That's a lot of stress, isn't it? It would fill up my physical stress, and I would take a consequence. Is that what happens there?
Yeah, so you can always choose to take a consequence to absorb some of the stress if you want. In this case, yeah, you're right, because it would occupy, even if you put all of it into stress that you can, you would have to take at least a mild consequence.
Okay. It's probably better to invoke a fate point, isn't it? An aspect. And
I mean, you've only got 45 minutes left. There is no reason to be saving fate points at this juncture in the game.
That's very true. I will invoke the aspect. Boom. What aspects have we got to play with? They don't have to be just mine, can they? They can be all of the aspects, like the
anything that's in the scene, anything that any of your aspects, anything that's in any of the scene aspects.
Cool. Well, I will invoke tattered old furniture. Some of it, just is too decrepit to like make any kind of significance. It falls apart even as before it connects. So that's down by 2, and
Yep.
then I will invoke. What will I invoke? I'm not seeing the cabin. Oh, I can invoke the ones that are underneath haunted cabin as well, right? Like,
If you can explain how they create an advantage for you.
yeah. I can't, but it just occurred to me as like that's a possible thing. I will also invoke, fueled by more than creativity. John is on some uppers and he's
Nice.
very twitchy. So yeah,
All right.
so that's an extra
That'll
4 onto my roll, right?
Yeah, so that'll bring it down to just 1 physical harm.
Okay.
Or if you want, you can invoke another aspect.
I can't think of another one to invoke
Sure.
particularly here, so I'll just take the 1 physical stress.
Yeah. All right, cool. And the only person left to pass the initiative to is Christian. What is Christian going to do?
I want to create an advantage.
What are you going to do?
I figured demons are a lot like moms, right? Or like really lame step parents. And they probably don't like rock and roll or metal. They probably really hate metal. And living houses are probably kind of the same. So just in case I get bored, I usually have like this belt amp that I carry around with me. It's, it's not real. It doesn't have really good sound quality or anything like that, but I can turn it up pretty loud, and it almost sounds like everything's coming through a fuzz box. So I'm going to start playing my guitar, and I'm just going to rip out a nasty solo that Eddie Van Halen wishes he could have done.
All right, that is amazing. What skill are you using for this?
Well, this may sound weird. I think fighter applies. It's not directly punching or anything like that, but it is basically cranking up the volume and trying to do damage to something through guitar playing.
All right, I think we can. Sure, we'll go with that for now.
Plus,
so
I think bad reputation would let me do that anyway.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, so I don't think you need to spend a fate point this time.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead and roll to create an advantage with fighter.
+4.
The Cassie will get to defend against it, so she'll make a defend roll afterwards, and then you can decide if you want to invoke aspects.
Sure.
All right, so the target. So there's a 6.
That's 6.
Let's see, Cassie. As you start to shred, sort of like starts to jam her fingers into her ears, her unholiness and your unholiness seemingly not mixing well at all. I guess, okay, so she has Survivor. She'll use that to defend.
I haven't drew a pentagram on my guitar. I mean, she should be feeling right at home with this.
She doesn't like it, so she is going to... Well, hang on. How's she going for fate points? All right. She's going to spend her last fate point to use the edge one last time, or possibly last time. And she's rolling at +3. Here we go. All right, so she has rolled a 6. So that's a tie for create advantage. If you let it sit there, you won't create an aspect, but you would get a boost. Or if you want to use an aspect, you can pop it up to a success, and you'll create an aspect with a free invoke on it. What do you think?
You still have a free invoke from my aspect. You could use that. I mean, would just give a free invoke on another aspect, but it would be cool.
Well, I was just sitting here looking at it. This is right off my vision board, which is show the world that Joe, Steve, Eddie, Nuno, none of them are as good as me. I mean, when was the last time any of those dudes strapped on their axe and tried to send a demon to hell with their playing? Huh?
I think you're right. If you want to spend that fate point.
I will absolutely spend that fate point because this is my fate. This is my destiny, God damn it.
All right. And what do you want to call the aspect that you're creating?
Let there be rock.
Amazing.
It's not amazing. It's AC/DC.
All right. So there's a
Which
free
means it's
invoke
amazing.
on Let There Be Rock for anyone who wants to use it. Christian, that's the end of the first round, so you can pass the initiative to anyone that you want, or you can just take another turn straight away if you want.
You know, Miss Cassie doesn't seem to have liked it when I called her Miss Cassie. She doesn't seem to like rock and roll.
She really doesn't.
So, since I clearly don't know what the hell she likes, I'm going to pass it to Jaime, who maybe can figure out what she likes or dislikes, because this place sucks. I just want to get out of here.
Fair. So,
Okay.
Jaime.
Yeah, I think I can't really do a lot with my possessed hand, so I can just throw some stuff at her. But what I can do, of course, I mean, I'm a Hispanic. I was raised Catholic. I can pray at her. I feel that should kind of add to her discomfort on the whole tonal set of the scene, right? And maybe also I can try to exercise my possessed hand while I'm doing that. That would be a good idea. Anyway.
So I think that could be either create an advantage if you're trying to, create an aspect that can be used against her, or it could be overcome an obstacle if you're trying to deal with the possessed hand specifically.
I think I'll try to overcome an obstacle because if I do, I can seize the edge from her, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
See?
A successful overcome action. Yeah, that's right. Versus her defend roll. And she's out of edge, so she won't. Sorry, she's out of fate points, so she can't use the edge right now.
And then we have the edge, and then we can use it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I've read the rules.
Hey, like one of us has. Go ahead. So what skill are you going to use to
occultism, obviously. I mean, basically praying at my possessed hand. That seems very occulty.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm rolling. Yeah, that's the right modifier. Oh, damn it. That was not a great roll. What was my target here?
Well, so she's going to defend. So even though it's your possessed hand, Cassie's going to defend against it using Survivor.
Oh, okay.
So,
and she's got 2 free invokes. Great.
Well, let's see how we go. So she's rolling now. All right, so she's rolled a 0.
Oh wow!
You had a 2, right?
I had 2. Yeah.
She does have
2 free invokes.
2 free invokes. So she's going to use a free invoke to make that a tie.
No.
Do you want to invoke an aspect?
I definitely want to invoke an aspect because you know what? I am a blue-collar magic man, and you don't fuck around with me. Not when it comes to magic. So I'm at 4.
All right. So that will beat her. So, let's just delete the possessed hand aspect. And
she can use the second free invoke. Just.
Oh, she can. Can you invoke the same aspect twice in the same?
If you have 2 free invokes, you can do that.
All right.
Only if you have 2 free invokes. You can if there's no free invokes, but if there are free invokes, you can invoke them.
All right. Well, yeah. In that case, she's going to do that.
Yeah, but in that case, I need to invoke some aspect. I have enough fate points here, so I will spend a fate point to invoke. I won't take the free invoke on the aspect that Christian just created. I will just take that and spend a fate point because I can do that, right? So I will do that. I will spend it because there is rock, right? And it harmonizes with praying to Jesus for reasons that I don't perfectly understand, but somehow I am a bit inspired by this music. I didn't know I liked this, but apparently I do. So yeah, I'm seizing control of my hand with my prayers, and I'm seizing the edge. So everybody else.
I think we see, the black veins that had spread throughout your hand as it tried to strangle you, just fade away back to a normal human thing. All right. And who would you like to pass the initiative to?
I think I'll go. Yeah, I think I'll go to Becca for this one because I want to see her use the edge on that.
All right. So Becca, it's you're up. You've got the edge. What do you want to do?
I mean, it sounds like we should use the edge to send this demon back to hell, right? That's the subtext I'm getting from it. But then again, everything looks like a nail to Becca.
I think you've correctly identified a nail in this case.
Yeah. The stopped clock is right sometimes, right? So what do I do with that edge?
So you have one free use, so that means you roll 3 fudge dice and 1d6.
Okay. So I guess I'll roll it. +4 for fighter.
And add your fighter skill.
Yeah. Let's see what this does for us.
Ooh, that looks pretty good. So she, no longer having the edge, is just going to roll with her athlete skill. I guess this can still be Unholy Defense. I don't need to change the name. So she rolls a 6. And then she doesn't have any free invokes on anything that are available to her to use. She doesn't have any fate points. So she is going to take... Well, she's looking to take 3 points of harm here, of stress, sorry.
I mean, yeah.
If you want to,
that doesn't sound like enough to me.
Yeah, but do you want to invoke an aspect?
Well, I guess I'm going to take a free invoke on Cassie's part demon and vulnerable to holy things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll bring me up to 5.
Bring it up to 5. If you want to invoke one more aspect, you can indeed send her to hell with this mighty blow.
There's the aspect of rusty tools in the basement. Send a skewered onto a pitchfork or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, apologies to Sam Raimi. I think there are some tools on the wall, maybe like shivering with the intent of the cabin itself, threatening to hurl them against us. So like in preparation to the attack, I am reaching back and grabbing a sickle and like throwing it at her. And I think I'm just hemming her in to line her up for the final attack with the axe. All
right, and then tell us what that axe blow looks like, because it is going to finish her off.
Yeah, I think it is an eviscerating cut. So it's like she is there stuck, pinned arms and neck with these sickles or random farming implements, and the axe just comes in an uppercut from navel all the way up to throat. And there's going to be some terribly 80s blood spurting all over me, right?
There really is. All right. So, do you want to pass the initiative? Because you still need to find the book and either deal with or escape this cabin.
Yeah. So I think John might be in a good position to find the book. What do you think?
That was exactly what I was planning on doing.
Cool.
And
All right.
I think this is another investigate roll, right?
Yeah, I think that's
to
right.
find it. Yeah. And however I'm doing it is basically like ducking underneath, scrap bits of wood that's just like coming from flung off camera by one of the produced, like the grips of this
All right.
80s movie.
So I think it's going to be it is quite well hidden. So I think the
Mhm.
difficulty to find the book is going to be a 4.
Okay. There are no free invokes on the table either, but
So just roll first, and then we can worry
Yeah.
about the invokes.
that's a 3. I will spend a fate point on weird zines and ancient tomes, because I have heard tell of this book, this this Death Ronomicon.
Yes.
Call it.
And where do you find it?
I think it's when the bookcase detaches itself from the wall and nearly crushes me, and I roll out from underneath it, and the books that are on it scatter all over the place, and it was neatly placed alongside one of them, placed in that shelf instead. My hand maybe like falls on it, and then I look down, and I notice that it's not touching like a normal binding. It's strangely warm and odd.
Nice.
And I'm like, I got the book.
All right. And do you want to pass the initiative now to Christian or to the haunted cabin?
If I don't pass it to the haunted cabin, then it'll get to go twice, right, at the end of the round. So I think as I grab the book in triumph is a good time for the haunted cabin to atmosphere.
Sure.
Like everything blows as I grab the book, right? And
Well, so the haunted cabin is going to try and create an advantage, and what will happen is, there's like quite a lot of holes in the walls. You notice that more now as blood starts to like briefly trickle and then just like gush and hose and explode everywhere, an impossible quantity of blood. So
the ceiling
I guess,
bulges as though it's like got a leak, just then explodes with blood through the plaster. Lovely.
yeah. So someone has to roll to defend when I create an advantage. I think that's how it works, and I'm not really sure how to decide who would be defending here. I guess it makes sense that John is. So
I guess.
think about what skill you might use to defend against the blood everywhere aspect that it's trying to create, but it'll roll to create the aspect first.
The blood everywhere aspect. I think I will defend with. I mean, this would be an aspect on all of us, right? Or just on. Yeah.
Well, it'll be an aspect. So it's trying to create an aspect that it can use against all of you.
Okay.
That's right.
So, I guess I defend with a cultist, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
So it's going to roll first. All right. It's rolled a 4.
Okay.
Go ahead and make your defense roll with a cultist.
That's a 0.
So that is quite a bad roll. Do you want to invoke an aspect either to re-roll or to increase it?
I could bump it up to a 4, couldn't I? With to a tie.
Yeah, which means it'll get a boost, but not an aspect.
Yeah.
Which is quite a good result. There is I think there's still a free invoke on Let There Be Rock, which you could certainly use here.
Oh yeah, I will use the free invoke on Let There Be Rock, and I will spend a fate point, and I'll let it have that boost. It's fine. And,
so what aspect are you invoking with the fate point?
It is going to be a horror writer with a first-hand experience, and it's going to be that like summoned blood is diffused with like it's not holy water, like some like Evian or something, like some really yuppie kind of like just happens to have the right quality kind of like get rid of ectoplasmic blood or something. I read it in a book somewhere, right?
Amazing. Yeah. All right, so blood is spraying everywhere, but mixing with the Evian, not really as much of an obstacle as the cabin had hoped.
It's because it's
And
pure
that,
water from the Holy Alps, right? Or whatever. Like,
yeah, beautiful. That means it's Christian's turn. Do you want to get everyone out of here, or what are you going to do?
This house is a real bum out. I don't like it. I don't think it should be here anymore. So I'll yell to Becca, grab the reel to reel. It's an Akai 707S. And then I've got more pyro on my guitar.
I bet you do.
The house is wood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wood burns, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to double check that just to make sure. I'm going to set off all the remaining pyro on my guitar, like all the sparks, all the firecrackers, everything on it.
All right. Well, let's call this let's call it overcome an obstacle. I think.
Okay.
You're trying to burn the cabin down as everyone flees. So it will defend, but it doesn't have a relevant skill, so it's just going to be rolling fate dice.
Okay,
But
that's good.
go ahead and make.
Cabins should have a relevant skill if they want to be evil and alive. Otherwise, they should figure somebody's going to try to burn it down at some point. This cabin is not very smart. Let me tell you what.
Well, the cabin is pretty offended by Christian saying it's not very smart. Go ahead and make your overcome an obstacle roll.
Not a boost though, the poor cabin, because of all the wet blood that is not very flammable.
That's true.
So with create an advantage, what stat am I rolling with, or am I not rolling with the stat?
I think that if you want to use that stunt that lets you spend a fate point to roll with fighter, you can.
Okay.
Otherwise,
I will happily do that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just go ahead and do that.
Like you just said, we're coming up on the end of the session. It's not like we need to save them.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
There's one that lets me roll with +4. So that's taken care of. And then we can handle invokes and everything after.
Yeah. So just start with. Okay, 2. Let's see how the cabin does. It's rolling at +2 for the boost that it has. All right, so that's a tie. So you just need to invoke one aspect to succeed.
Let there be rock.
Beautiful.
So what is more rock than burning down a house with pyro from my guitar? It's a shame nobody would believe me if I told them. An evil house trying to kill us at the same time that I'm burning it down with the power of metal. That is an awesome song right there. But I guess he had to be there. So yeah, I just start it's just sparks shooting off of the end. A few Roman candles get lit off and shoot into those dark corners that aren't really that visible, and we see a lot of cobwebs and things in there, and it's a damn shame because cobwebs are flammable as hell. And then you see the fire start licking up the walls and starting to lick at the curtains, and the curtains catch fire. And we've all seen that movie, right? The inside of the house catches fire as we run out, and then the entire thing collapses into ash, and there's probably some sort of unearthly scream coming out of it as it kind of falls into the pit in the ground, and then there's this giant whooshing sound, and then it's like it was never there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But the important question, Becca, did you get the reel to reel?
And I think, unless you really want it, but I think for comedic effect, Becca has something else, something that is not the reel to reel. But you threw some technical terms at her, and she just didn't really follow. Plus, her ears were she's still covered in demon blood. So no is the answer to your question. Long story short. But it's something very interesting, I don't know, a phonograph or something like that.
Becca, that's a Victrola. Jeez.
All right. So I'm going to frame ahead here. You have, on your way back to town, you stop for petrol at a truck stop, and you're happy to see. Oh, sorry.
I want to look at that Deathronomicon, please, before we give it to some professor who wants it for academic rivalry, and then he brings down the Western civilization. Well, okay, that might not be a bad idea, but not this dude. So, all
right. So if it's all right, I'll hold that for next session.
Okay.
But we will be able to do that.
Yeah.
So you stopped at a truck stop on the way home. You're all happy to see the new issue of the Weekly World News, a conspiratorial tabloid that has one of the best monster hunting classified sections available in this part of the 80s. So I'm just copying it over now. There should now be a new tab in the character keeper for the Weekly World News right at the right-hand side. And basically, as you go through it, you see there are 3 sort of jobs that look plausible, look like they might be worth picking up. So either as a scene in character or out of character. I just want to know which of these you want to do next week. There is also an alternative if you're not sure. I'm also happy to prep something where you just basically spend next week doing research, like talking to the people about the 3 jobs. That also works for me if you don't want to pick one. But yeah, go ahead, take a look, tell me what you think.
Oh man, they all sound fun.
They are all good 80s horror movies. I mean,
good.
Man.
I mean, I like Nightmare on Elm Street, or whatever the middle one is purporting to be.
Yeah.
Look, let's be honest. Wouldn't you rather take the one with the puzzle box, because you know that I'm just like not that good at puzzles and I can't open it?
But
I'm not so sure about the other 2 members of the team. You know,
I would love to look at the puzzle box. I mean, if it's a puzzle box, it clearly needs to
be solved. Yeah. This is why I really do not want to go near it.
Yeah, right. Okay,
it
summer
has
camp
such sights to show you, Donna. Such sights.
I just want to look at it, but we can go and look at the nightmares. That seems fine too. That seems to necessitate some academic research, and I can build some dream catchers to give us some sort of protection from whatever that is. That sounds interesting enough.
Can't we just go to the summer camp where the kids will appreciate my guitar playing? I mean,
no, please.
Because they're teenagers, Christian, and we really don't need that.
No.
Why?
No. Teenagers.
Teenagers need to rebel.
Why fine. They can rebel again. They can rebel with they said the masked killer is likely dead. So
it's an easy job. I can sit around and play guitar. You can read. Becca,
yeah, but we have to camp.
No, they've got like cabins.
Nah.
John, you can write that next zine you've been working on.
And as you mentioned, cabins, flashback to fiery burn down cabin.
I think we've had our share of cabins.
Yeah, I had
enough. Come on, what's the odds that we have another haunted cabin trying to kill us?
100%.
You really never. Let's never tell you the odds. But I think I like the nightmare thing. That seems more interesting. Come on, Christian, you don't probably imagine what kind of song you can write from a proper nightmare. Don't tell me that there's no metal in a nightmare.
No, there is, but I gotta say, if we're gonna do this, I get to at least name us for this job. We're gonna be the Dream Warriors.
Corniest name I ever heard.
Look, sorry, have you heard the name of his band?
Excuse me, there are Y's and X's in the name of my band. Although you're right, we should have made that last X maybe a Z. Nah, X's are good. X's are better.
Is this is this actually a allusion to the river, or is this just you messing with letters?
No, we put on lipstick for our show. We've got like all these different shades. We have lipsticks.
Okay.
So,
Mhm.
you know,
So it's just you messing with letters.
it's our stage makeup.
Nothing about the river Styx and that you might want to forget everything after you've heard that band.
That
Okay.
hurts, Jaime.
I think,
Alright.
Jaime, your cutting barbs are too highbrow for Christian.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Christian. That was mean. That was mean. I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh,
Thank
it's
you.
a heartwarming note to wrap up on. So, just a little bit of end of session admin. At the end of each session, you get to mark a big mood. Sorry. You'll see there's a selfies and advancement tab. A big mood is something that you can invoke during a session for +1 to a roll. So you want to record the big mood as a short phrase. It can be a picture if you want, like however you want to do it, that describes or represents just something cool that your character did during the session, like a high point for you personally during the session. I'll give you a second to think about that.
So it seems as though everything. So you can invoke a big mood once per session. So you write it down there, and it kind of becomes like an aspect, right? Like
Yeah, so
remember
it's
that
like a
time
mini
when-
aspect. You only get +1 for it.
Yeah.
There's also like advantages and things you can switch around for it, but because it's the end of the first session, I'm just going to let you switch around any stuff that you want between the sessions anyway, so it doesn't really matter so much.
You said it can be a picture, right?
Yeah. Nice. Will, do you have one, or do you want to think about it?
I do have one, but I did that thing where you go to Google Images, but it doesn't give you one that you can get a URL of. There we go. I think it is basically flying furniture.
Nice. All right.
Okay.
So I would love to finish up. Nice. So let's just finish up with a quick round of stars and wishes. I think we'll just go in character keeper order for this, if that's okay.
Do we still need to mark the big fucking deal?
No, so we'll finish up the story. We'll like deal with the book, handing it over, getting paid, that stuff during the next session, and then we'll mark a big fucking deal then.
Okay.
Cool. So Sabine, stars and wishes.
Yeah, lots of stars for this session. This was a lot of fun. Stars, first of all, to you, Shane, for setting the tone of this was good, hilarious fun, 80s fun. It was just like, yeah, we're in this haunted cabin. It was really nice. Stars to Donna for Becca's no nonsense. Oh God, I got to hit this. Who are these people? Why are they here? And anyway, I'm killing this demon now. Attitude, I love that. And I love John's like, okay, I'm gonna look for the book and I'm gonna investigate. And I write down notable quotes from sword parties. I really like that. And stars to Christian and his axe. That was nice. I like that one.
Any wish for next time?
Gosh, I want to see this nightmare dude, and I want to use my stunt, and I want to use my maker skill that I have to make stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely try and arrange things next time so there's opportunities for you all to use your stunts.
one more wish. I would
please.
like to see maybe the mundane, the true horror side of this game, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
the mundane side.
Cool. That's great. Thank you. Will.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like all the characters in the thing, and Christian. I mean, fuck it, like coming swinging straight out the gates with with Christian Starr there. But like, I think it's it works with the whole monster hunt, like ad hoc monster hunters. Just sort of, we're like an older, slightly more broke Scooby Gang, basically. And yeah, I'm loving the 80s like horror movie thing. That's what I was hoping for, and I didn't realize it would be even more than I could have possibly hoped for. And I'm actually really looking forward to that, especially in terms of the aspects and everything. Shane, I really liked like that sheet with all of the aspects and the like the place, the scenes, and then the different enemies and the different things there made it really easy to see. And wish wise, I guess like like the more open side of like the the early part of the movie, right, where they're trying to work out where Freddy is, and like in terms of like the horror, like the mundane horror, like what's the mundane horror in Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare Before Elm Street. It was I guess kind of like the parents and the sort of shittiness of that whole situation and how quickly they are to blame somebody else and that kind of thing, right? Like, yeah. So, that kind of like open, like scenes that can sort of incorporate all of that rather than be like localized to just, in a room kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I think, sorry, I'm just jumping back across the tabs. I think next on the keeper is Pocket.
First of all, stars to you for figuring out a way to run this game without using Roll20.
I'll never use Roll20 again. It's very clear on that.
Most of the fake games that I'm aware of that run online use Roll20 because apparently there's infrastructure in Roll20 for it. So building infrastructure for a fake game outside that, stars to you, big thumbs up. Sabine looked up, so I'm guessing there's probably other ways to run Fate outside Roll20. But that's like the one that I knew of. So, Will, I loved the matter-of-factness of John, like just like sticking a Polaroid down there, tucking it into, like taking the picture, tucking the Polaroid into his coat, looking around for the reason why we're here, not messing around with any of this, demon undead girl in the basement nonsense, just like going straight for the money, sensibly. John's the reason we're going to get paid, even if John's the only person who survives the entire thing. But it happens. That's how bands go, right? Sometimes everybody dies except for one person. So, and then Donna, I really like Becca was no nonsense, straightforward. This thing needs to be poked with the sharp end of a business implement, so I'm going to poke it. You weren't messing around with nonsense like pyrotechnics and playing guitar or anything like that. You brought an axe to an axe fight. Even if I misunderstood which axe you wanted me to bring, even though mine is kitted out for both. Looks more metal that way. And then Sabine, I loved Jaime's like just kind of trying to figure things out. And then the nonsense with the hand. Like, please don't cut it off. I loved that little bit. The entire thing was just hitting serious Sam Raimi vibes, Evil Dead vibes for me. It was a lot of fun. Open wish, if there's any way we can work in Slithus or Blood Beach next time, thumbs up.
Okay.
So,
thank you. And Donna.
Yeah, Shane, I guess every 80s schlocky horror movie touchstone was Pitch Perfect. Loved every reference. Sabine, yeah, Jaime's kind of praying away the evil was brilliant. I'm just sorry that it didn't stick around for longer, so you could wipe away a tear with your, plastic hand, to paraphrase Angel. Puckett, what more can I say about your entrance? But I'll call out your character introduction again as being like some Academy Award winning speech from the podium style. If they gave out Academy Awards for Academy Award speeches, that would be yours. And Will, yeah, I love the way John just matter of factly pokes his way around this cabin that's trying to eat him, to find the the reason we came to this neck of the woods. So yeah, that was very on point. And I don't know, maybe something only a jaded author would be able to get away with.
Do you have any wishes?
I guess maybe next time I'll have more of a handle on fate. But yeah, I think a little bit more of the kind of low octane monster hunting.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of the kind of domesticity, real jobs kind of stuff.
Yeah. Cool. That sounds great. I just want to mention a few things. I am super excited about these characters. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the game, including, as several of you said, some more like low-key scenes. I wanted to jump into the action, but I am, also excited about some more social, more chill. I don't know if chill is the word. More horrifying in a different way, sort of stuff. I do want to credit Lowell Francis, who made the character keeper that I based this one on. So a lot of the like admin stuff that you mentioned is actually his work. I know it's quite late for a few of you. If any of you do need to open door for the next session or the rest of the run, of course that's okay. Just let me know. I think there's still some people on the wait list, and do feel free now that you've had a bit of a play. If you want to move around any of your character stuff, you're very welcome to do that before next time. If you want to swap out skills, swap out stunts, change anything about who you are, that's totally welcome. You're pretty much welcome to do that between any of the sessions, whatever works for you. But yeah, thanks so much. I'm going to stop the recording. Bear with me for 1 sec.